The White House is planning on looking into why Fox News is not carrying Donald Trump's rallies in its entirety or in some cases at all, which is, by the way, a scary headline by itself. The White House shouldn't have to investigate something like that. But yes, it turns out that Fox is now refusing to air some of Trump's rallies, and it's all because of business. Let's keep it real. It's all about numbers. It is a numbers game, and his rallies are just not bringing in the ratings that they used to. This story is great. So, according to Politico, as he's ramped up his rally schedule ahead of the midterms, viewership numbers for the primetime events have been roughly similar to and sometimes dipping below Fox News's regular programming, and the network has recently stopped airing most events in full. So I'm gonna give you a few examples. So on August 30th, Fox News's 8 p.m. hour was mostly consumed by Trump's rally in Indiana, earning 2.536 million viewers compared to the 2.8 million viewers Tucker Carlson averaged at that time during 2018's third quarter.
So let me give you a little bit of context in this, because I was on cable news for a little while. So hosts don't love it when their shows are interrupted. They get pretty cranky, and they want to be on air. They prepared a show, presumably, and then they get doubly cranky when their show is interrupted and it gets worse ratings, because that's actually figured into their ratings for the quarter, the month, and is part of how they're judged at the end of the day.
That's crazy, by the way.
Yes.
I'd be grumpy about that too, to be fair.
Yeah, and so now, so the second part of it, I'm probably going ahead of you here a little bit, Anna, but is that they carry the complete rallies, so they can't put in commercials. So it costs them money in two different ways. So rah, Donald Trump, wait a minute, I just got a check that's less than the one I used to get, not so much.
Yeah, I love this story, if you couldn't tell. And I love it because it shows that, Trump, with his rallies at least, is a one-trick pony. He does the same thing over and over and over again. And look, I like steak, but I don't want to eat steak every day. I'll get tired of steak.
Especially if it's well done with ketchup.
Right, and look, I don't mean to insult steak by comparing him to Trump, but my point is, it's the one-trick pony thing over and over again, and people get kind of fatigued. They get tired of it. You're only entertained so many times watching the same thing over and over again. So, and remember, his rallies in the last election were very successful. It really did help his campaign, and it appears that that's not a winning strategy anymore. At least it's starting to look that way.
See what you did, Kanye? You see what you did? He'll get blamed for it eventually. I mean,
but in a different universe, though, Kanye is really helping Donald Trump.
Oh, I'm sure, and Donald Trump is helping him, and I hope they help each other to the crazy house, because that's where they both belong. No offense, and all the offense you can possibly take. But what I think that some people are actually waking up. And I think that, unfortunately, for some people who are not collective thinkers, something has to directly affect them for them to feel like, oh no, this is not. It's okay for the black people. It's okay for the immigrants. It's okay for the women, but not me. I just think that people are waking up, and regardless of what the motivation is, if it is selfish, I think people are tired of hearing the same stuff over and over again, while all the injustices close in on everybody who's not in that top 1%.
Yeah. It's so bizarre just to have a conversation about a president who is bummed out that his favorite buddies at the network are starting to get bored with him. Like, it's bizarre. It's just, I mean, you guys much more on top of the news, but it's just another reminder of how beyond normalcy we are. Just like, this isn't news. It's awesome because we all think, oh, darn it.
It's okay.
Freaking hate Trump.
Yeah.
And so we're just happy when he's losing, and when we're happy when we see the veil crack, because he is a man driven by vanity and ego, and this is the only thing he cares about. They don't care about anything.
Right.
He cares about his image and his popularity, and he would love nothing more than that's why, in other ways, Kanye tickled his celebrity, his, kiss ASS. You like celebrities. I can say ass?
Yes.
Got it. I need that sheet. Get that out of the control room, bring it here.
And Matt brought a little bit of Veep here.
I said fricking. You can go back and look at it. I said fricking.
But just to comment on the whole Kanye thing, like if you focus specifically on Trump's face as Kanye is, praising him, this is what Trump lives for. The constant praise, the constant validation. And that's why he loves these rallies. It's the #1 thing he likes to do. And he is concerned that his buddies aren't carrying the rallies in full, or in some cases aren't carrying the rally at all, because it is free advertising for him. And he does see Fox as state-sponsored, television news. Right. And so one of the comments from one of his anonymous campaign operatives made me laugh, because this person said, quote, let's go to graphic 38. If every night Trump does a rally, a station carries it, you just become the president's station. So he's arguing, no, maybe it's a good thing that Fox isn't doing this, because we don't want Fox to appear to be like state-sponsored news, but that's exactly what they are. Even if they're not covering his rallies, all they do is twist the reality of any given news event to Trump's advantage, which is why you go to these Trump rallies and we have reporters who will interview some of his base and ask questions, and so many of them are either misinformed or uninformed, and it's devastating because they just watch Fox. That's their only source of news.
Martha McCullum complained the other day. She's like, I can't believe people think Fox is state TV. Really, you can't believe it? Like that's a big surprise to you? Yeah. So I don't know who they think they're kidding, but I will tell you that it is a bipartisan problem, because #1, when I was at MSNBC, they asked me to support the Democratic Party, and so that's real. And they didn't say the Democratic Party, they talked in code words. We were in Washington, they don't like your tone, remember who the home team is, etc. And then, and we have people who have said on air, and off the record to me as well, MSNBC hosts during the 2016 election, the Clinton campaign would call them all the time. And if they didn't like something that was on air, they'd yell at them. What business is it of yours? They shouldn't be the home team. But unfortunately, it's broken down into that. We try to avoid that here, not because it's not clear what our perspective is. I'm a progressive, I'm super proud of it, right? But we're not on any political team, and you shouldn't be on a political team, unless they've earned your, the vote and loyalty in whichever facet that you look at it. But for these media organizations to be totally in the tank, until of course, it affects their bottom line. And then all of a sudden Fox News is like, yeah, I like you. I'm not sure I like you that much that I'm gonna cost myself this much money. Last thing is that, remember, this has a big political impact, because he's doing those rallies theoretically, he's just doing them for fun in reality, but theoretically to help those particular candidates in places like Pennsylvania and all the different places that he's gone. He just went to Erie, Pennsylvania. And when they're not carried in primetime on Fox News, then the word doesn't get out as much about those candidates, and then that hurts their chances.
Well, I just wanted to quickly say, you should be alarmed. Everyone should be alarmed. Being someone who was raised in a house, raised by a political prisoner from Cuba, just to hear that the White House is investigating a news station because they are gonna dial back on what they are airing should make every American concerned. Like, you should be concerned about this that's going on, and the tone that they're taking and the authority that they feel that they have over us and our media, trying to shove the president down our throats with incorrect information and programming a lot of people who don't know any better. So if nothing, you should be alarmed by that.
And the nonstop attacks on the press for simply doing their jobs and reporting, accurate content, accurate news about Trump. So they're the enemy of the people. At every rally, he makes a point to the media in the back and antagonize them in some way. All of this stuff is concerning, especially if you consider yourself an individual who cares about free speech. Again, free speech doesn't only mean protections for Ben Shapiro when he wants to go speak at Berkeley. Free speech means protecting the press and giving them the ability and opportunity to do their jobs.
I'll tell you this though, if he starts attacking Fox News, well then that's pretty much it for him. I mean, he's got nothing else left. So I do look forward to that, if it ever comes to that. The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.